Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to Robert's Sports Show. I'm your host, Robert. NCAA Realignment and new playoff format. I have came up with a end-all, fix-all for the NCAA FBS football system. As we all know, the BCS didn't work. I don't believe the current AP poll and playoff committee, the 14 playoff, next year being 18 playoff, I don't think that works. So I came up with an end-all, be-all to fix all that. As we all know, the current playoff format, the 4 teams that made the playoffs was Alabama, Oregon, Florida State, Ohio State, which led to Alabama versus Ohio State and Oregon versus Florida State. Let's go back the week before the final regular season game. We had the TCU ranked third in the committee in the Final Four. They ranked TCU third. Ohio State goes out and beats Wisconsin 59-0 for the Big Ten tournament. They were ranked, I believe it was 6th at the time. Okay, that's great. Well, TCU, currently ranked third, mind you, went out and beat, who did they beat? I'm going to look it up if I have it in the notebook. I don't think I have it in this notebook. I want to say it was Kansas State, maybe. I'm not 100% sure who they beat. But TCU ended up winning 54-3, was it? 55-3, something like that. So, both of them were just blowouts. So TCU wins by 50-some points, 53. Ohio State wins by 59. Ohio State jumps 2 positions and TCU falls 2 positions. Because it was the Big 12 championship game. And the Big 10 and the Big 12 does not have a championship game. So, okay. I understand the championship game is a little more than just a normal game. But why would you put TCU in the top 4 just to take them out the following week when they win? Never understood that. So, let's look at, some of the reasons why. RPI. Well, Ohio State's RPI was 45. TCU is 53. Okay. Ohio State's non-conference RPI was 42nd. TCU was, in the 80s, I believe it was. Okay. Baylor, another Big 12 team, was sitting there at 11-1. They're ranked 5th. Their RPI is 59, so below TCU. And their non-conference RPI is 128. But TCU beat Baylor earlier in the year. Yeah, okay. Sorry, that just, some of this doesn't make any sense. So, that takes us up to New Year's Day, the 2 bowl games. We have Oregon versus Florida State. We have Alabama versus Ohio State. Ladies and gentlemen, Oregon put a whooping on Florida State, 59-20. So it kind of shows you how solid the Oregon Ducks are. And how Florida State, yes, they were 13-0, but the old adage, who they beat? Well, they beat everyone, but strength of schedule wise, who they beat? Or they beat a lot of strong teams probably. Alabama loses 42-35 to Ohio State. So that sets up our finals, January 12th, Ohio State Buckeyes versus the Oregon Ducks. Both teams are 13-1. So this would be for the national championship game. If we were basing this on the old standards, probably Oregon would be the national champion. Unfortunately, my prediction for the national championship game is going to be Ohio State is going to put a whooping up on Oregon. Obviously, like I said, the week before the end of the regular season, Ohio State wasn't even in the playoff 4, and then they get in there. So, it is what it is, I guess. During this season, there was 13 regular season games. Season ran from August 30th to December 6th. And then your last game is December 6th, and then your first playoff game is January 1st. Then your next playoff game is January 12th. I don't like that. I don't like that gap in there. I know Christmas is in there, but that's a lot of time for these kids, student athletes, to be not on the football field and away from the game. There's more chance of injury and stuff. So I devised a way to fix all this. So instead of having these committees and these polls, go back to the AP poll. And one time this year, Marshall was undefeated. I believe they were 12-0. They were ranked like 20th. They were never considered for the playoff, but they were undefeated. Colorado the same way, or Colorado State the same way. They were undefeated at one point, and they were not even top 25. So I'm like, you know what? There's got to be a way to fix this. So currently we have 128 teams in the football bowl subdivision, the FBS. There's 41 different bowl games complete to the whole bowl season. 11 different conferences. So what I came up with is taking all 128 FBS teams, breaking them down to 2 regions. You got a North region, you got a South region. You take 4 conferences, 2 conferences in each region. You got 8 divisions total, 4 divisions in each region. So you got a region, 2 conferences, 4 divisions, north to south. You take your season that currently this year ran August 30th through December 6th. You bump it up a week to August 22nd. You extend the end of the year 2 weeks to the 19th. Then the student athletes get 2 weeks off for Christmas. And then their first bowl game and first championship bowl game would be on January 1st. And then your championship game would be on, so January 1st and 2nd would be your 2 playoff weekend, playoff days. January 9th would be your finals. So your season would run, this is based on the 2015 calendar, August 22nd through December 19th. 18 weeks. You have 15 games and 3 bye weeks. So instead of having your weeks off at the end of the season like they currently do, you would take them during the season. You'd extend your schedule to 18 weeks instead of 15 games instead of 13 games. So you're only adding 2 more games. But your RPI goes out the window. Your strength of schedule goes out the window. Same thing, I know. But your non-conference goes out the window. So what you would do is you would have the Northwest Division, the Northeast Division, and the North Region. The Northwest, West Division, and East Division. Then you would have a Northeast, West Division, East Division. In the first year, the Northwest, West Division, there's 16 teams in this division. You play 15 games. You play your own division. You have 7 home games, 7 road games, 1 neutral site game. Those would be the odd years. The even years, you play the other division. Minus 1 team, obviously. Okay? So in the odd years, your schedule would be completely, exactly the same. You'd be off by a team or 2. But you would have, for the most part, the same exact schedule. And then the odd year, you play your own division again. And whatever your home team was the first year, the third year, they're your road teams and vice versa. You have a different, neutral site game, having a different site. And then the 4th year, you go back to the other division and you play the team you didn't play, and you don't play another team. So for the most part, in 4 years, you would play your own division twice, the vast majority of the other division twice, all except for 2 teams. What this would do is, for the most part, it would cut down on some of the travel. Obviously, the even years when you're playing your division, you're going to travel a little farther. But on the odd years, it would cut down travel. If you're a student from Ottumwa, Iowa, and your choices go to Iowa, Iowa State, Alabama, or Auburn. Well, based on current, the SEC, how powerful they are, the SEC network and everything, Yeah, the Big Ten Network. But you want to play big time college football, you can go to the Auburns of the world, the Alabamas, the Florida States, Oregon's, the Ohio State, the teams you see in the national championship games. With my idea here, the way these teams are broke down, if you're a student in Ottumwa, Iowa, you want to go to play big time college football, you might have a better shot sticking with Iowa and Iowa State, because obviously every other year you're going to play the Oregons of the world, the Stanfords of the world, the UNLVs of the world, Oregon State. In the odd years, you play your own division. You're playing the Missouris, the Kansas State, the Nebraskas, Notre Dame, Illinois. So you're playing teams that are pretty good, that you still get the national recognition that you need to move on to the NFL. You would also be able to be closer to home, so your parents and your friends, your family can come visit you and watch your game live versus having to sit home and watch TV. So you have these 8 divisions with 16 teams in them. Obviously, you got the SEC network, you got the Pac-12 network, the Big Ten, the Big 12, all these, the Longhorn network, all these schools have their own networks. Conferences have their own networks. You would just have to transition that over to the new conference. Like the SEC network would be with most of the current, the vast majority of the SEC, all the SEC teams are in the Southeast West Division. So the SEC network will cover that. What you could do in your scheduling wise is NFL has Thursday nights covered. Is you could have 2 games on Wednesday night, if not 4 games. You'd have 2 games at 6 o'clock, 2 games at 9 o'clock. Have your primetime games. You could also do this on Friday night and have primetime games. Do the rest of your schedule on Saturday, at noon, 3, 6, and 9. Have your primetime, televised games, and have all your other games played. You would have, obviously, at the end of the year, you would have your 8 divisions. Those are your playoff teams. So the first round, Northwest, the West, and East division would play. The winners would play each other. Your second round, the Northeast, continue that. So your Northwest division, your Northeast division, both division winners or top regions. Excuse me. Let me start that over. Your 4 regions have 8 divisions. Those are your first round playoff teams. So your Northwest, the 2 division leaders will play each other for the Northwest title. Your Northeast, 2 division winners will play each other for the Northeast title. To the Southwest, Southeast, the same way. So you would get down to your 4 conference winners. So your Northwest Conference would play your Northeast Conference for your region title. Your Southwest plays your Southeast for your region title. And then your championship game will be the North versus the South. Plain and simple, it's all determined on the field. It's more of a, I don't say balanced schedule, but it is for the most part, because you're all playing the same teams who you're fighting against. So here's how your divisions will work out. The Northwest West Division would be Oregon, Boise State, Utah, BYU, Washington, Nevada, Stanford, Fresno State, Oregon State, California, Hawaii, San Jose State, Washington State, UNLV, Idaho. Obviously, current with the 2014 record, Oregon would win at 12-1. The Northwest East Division would be Northern Iowa, Colorado State, Wisconsin, Missouri, Kansas State, Nebraska, Minnesota, Iowa, Notre Dame, Wyoming, Illinois, Northwestern, Kansas, Purdue, Iowa State, and Colorado. Northern Illinois would win at 11-2. The Northeast West Division would be Ohio State, Marshall, Cincinnati, Western Michigan, Michigan State, Toledo, Central Michigan, Bowling Green, Ohio, Akron, Ball State, Michigan, Indiana, Kent State, Miami of Ohio, and Eastern Michigan. Your Ohio State and Marshall would be tied at 12-1. Your first tiebreaker would be head-to-head matchup. So if they play each other, whoever won that game, that would be the tiebreaker. if it's the year they didn't play, or if you had more than 2 teams tied, since the old adage is offense wins games, defense wins championships, maybe one of the tiebreakers would be, yards allowed or something, or, fewest points scored or something like that. So it's all defense based, so you don't have an Ohio State versus Eastern Michigan and have Ohio State have to win 80-0 because they want the most points possible because that's the tiebreaker. I hate seeing blowouts. I think they're stupid. It's not good for the game. So have the tiebreakers defense based or head-to-head based. The Northeast East Division would be Maryland, Rutgers, Boston College, West Virginia, Navy, Virginia Tech, Pittsburgh, Penn State, Temple, Virginia, Buffalo, Army, UMass, Syracuse, Wake Forest, and UConn. Maryland will win that 7-5. There's going to be years where your conference maybe is not or your division is not as strong as it should be. You might have a 7-5 team win. But obviously, you're going to have your good teams and your bad teams in any division. You would hope the more the money gets split, the more money some of these schools can make, the better coach they can hire, or the more recognition they get in the national, the more recruiting you can do. The Southwest West Division will be TCU, Arizona, Arizona State, Air Force, UCLA, USC, UTEP, San Diego State, Texas State, Houston, Texas, New Mexico, Texas Tech, the University of San Antonio, UTSA, New Mexico State, and SMU. Obviously, TCU at 11-1 would win this division. The Southwest East Division would be Baylor, Ole Miss, Memphis, Oklahoma, University of Louisiana Lafayette, USC, Louisiana Tech, Rice, Texas A&M, Arkansas State, Oklahoma State, Arkansas, North Texas, Louisiana Monroe, Tulane, and Tulsa. Baylor would win that division at 11-1. Last but not least, you have the Southeast. You have the Southeast West Division. You have Alabama, Mississippi State, Georgia Tech, Georgia, Georgia Southern, Louisville, Auburn, Western Kentucky, South Alabama, Tennessee, MTSU, University of Alabama, Birmingham, Southern Miss, Troy, Vanderbilt, and Georgia State. And Alabama would win 12-1. This is all based on last year's record. So obviously playing head-to-head, you really wouldn't know what the record would be until after it happened. The Southeast East Division would be Florida State, Clemson, Central Florida, Duke, Eastern Carolina, North Carolina State, Appalachian State, Florida, Miami, South Carolina, North Carolina, Old Dominion, Kentucky, South Florida, Florida International, and Florida Atlantic. Obviously, being 128 teams, it'll take time for everybody's program to be as good as some of the more elite teams. The idea of college football is for the student athlete to get an education first and play football second. If you can shorten some of the travel for some of these teams to their own little region, and then maybe every other year expand it a little bit, and you figure if you're in Oregon or if you're in Utah or Washington and you're traveling, just to Northern California in the Idaho area, every other year you're going out to, as far as east they would go would be Notre Dame, Northwestern. That's halfway across the country, yes I know, but that's only every other year. So currently you got teams that travel, halfway across the country every year. Or they schedule these powder puff schools, these Division II type schools, at the beginning of the year to get the record up, and then they do their conference schedule, their non-conference and conference. Just play your own damn division, make it more fair to everybody, let some of these smaller schools who don't normally win a chance to win, like in Oregon, Ohio State. This national championship game should be pretty good. My prediction for the current national champion is Ohio State. If you liked my realignment, please comment. If you didn't like it, please comment. I want to hear from all my viewers. Hopefully the NCAA will take a look at this video and be like, man, Robert's got it going on. We want to use this. If that happens in NCAA, email me and we'll talk terms. Since I did come up with it, and it is my idea, we'll talk terms. All right. Well, thanks for watching Rubber Sports Show and have a fantastic night.